Why salespeople ask stupid questions. In this video, which has been taken from the salesman.org archives, you're going to learn why salespeople often ask stupid questions and why you can blame your parents if you occasionally do this. So let's jump right in. And the first thing to note is that salespeople are typically terrible at asking the right questions. And this inability to ask questions stems from most people being programmed or conditioned from a young age not to ask too many questions. In school, children are rewarded for giving the right answers and they're shouted at for actually asking great questions. So when a child asks an excellent probing question that explores other people's assumptions, especially the teachers, they get reprimanded for it. For example, a teacher might say, "Billy, what's 4 plus 4? And Billy turns around and goes, "8, miss." And the teacher goes, "Well done, Billy. Here's a gold star to stick on the wall." Alternatively, when Billy starts asking the questions, he turns around and says, "Miss, why do we have to learn all this maths when we all have calculators on our iPhones?" Fair question, right? The teacher turns around and says, "Because I said so now, sit down, shut up, because we have an exam to pass. Otherwise, I might lose my job." So that's the dichotomy of getting rewarded for answering questions and punished for asking them. On top of this, avoiding risk and endeavouring to blend in is stamped into our human DNA. We're wired like this so that we don't get kicked out of the tribe for being difficult to get along with. In sales though, you're going to have to ask difficult questions. You're going to have to turn this programming on its head. You're going to have to ask difficult questions that lead to difficult conversations if you're ever going to win the deal. As we go into this workshop, you must understand that just as you try and influence potential partners through your communication, they're trying to influence and control you as well. If a potential customer asks you a question, if they use wishy-washy words or they try and manipulate you, you shouldn't try and battle them. You should let them play their weird, stupid games and just ask better questions to win the overall war rather than the individual battles themselves. For example, if a potential partner says, "Well, we've been working with X sales training company for 25 years now," when you start prospecting them, well, let me ask you, does that mean that, well, I'm bored with the training that's been given and I'm really happy to look at alternatives? Or does it mean I'm never going to change such a long-standing business relationship because it's working great? Who knows? I certainly don't. I'm not clairvoyant. Therefore, the only way to decipher this coded message is to ask a follow-up question. So it may seem that the prospect is trying to manipulate you or influence you or use wishy-washy language to get out of answering a question, and they may be doing this consciously or unconsciously, but you can win the war, you can win this battle by asking better questions and better follow-up questions after that bit of communication has happened. So as well as understanding the prospect in general, the most critical reason why we ask questions is to understand the pain that a prospect is in so that we can create what you're well aware of by now, a value gap, and solve it with our product or service. Additionally, asking great questions can also share the following to your potential partners. It can communicate with them that you've got ability because your skills and the knowledge you have about your industry and about your customer are demonstrated by the questions you ask. It also shows your availability because if you're physically not there to ask and answer questions before the sale is closed, then the prospect is never going to trust that your team is going to be there to help them after the deal is done either. Great selling questions also shows openness because when you communicate openly and ask questions that show this, the buyer is going to open up in response and they're going to show more data with you than the competition, giving you a clear advantage. And finally, it shows discretion because when you can talk about sensitive corporate information with a buyer privately, they're going to then start to respond with private information from their business side that's going to help you make better decisions in kind as well. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click subscribe, leave a comment below what you thought about the video and the content itself, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.